Welcome along to episode 837 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. Coming up on the show this week, we'll be talking about women in history and the way they're not recorded as often as they should be, as I have a natter with Dame Laura Kenny. Zammo, Lee McDonald from Grange Hills along as we find out about some of the dangers of sun exposure. Richard O'Connor lets us know about his book Paranormal Black Country and the book signing he's got taking place at Waterstones in Wolverhampton on Saturday the 12th of July. We'll be having a natter with Jacky Fellows all about PrintFest 2025 ahead of its launch, as it is on its way in November of this year, and now is the time to get yourself involved and put your name down if you're a printmaker. Plus, we'll be finding out about Swim for Compton, raising funds for Compton Care. That's all on the way on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
It seems over the summer months, many of us are much more likely to be checking our phones than checking our sunscreen is topped up. And the British Skin Foundation is saying that getting sunburned just 5 times in a lifetime more than doubles your risk of getting melanoma, skin cancer. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Dr. Emma Wedgeworth, consultant dermatologist at the British Skin Foundation, and also by Lee McDonald, who those of a certain age, me included, will remember as Zammo on Grange Hill back in the day. How are we doing both?
Hiya, all good.
Right, first of all, Lee, you had a very serious situation when you were discovered to have an unusual spot on your face.
Fortunately, it was a scare. It was a year ago. I went to the doctor with a spot on my eye, and he said at the time it looks like a BCC, which worried me because obviously that's a cancerous spot. After the second biopsy, they said it wasn't cancerous, so it was a big relief for me. There was many days of crying when I did think I had cancer. But recently, because of this campaign, the O2 campaign, I've now gone back to the doctors and I've got a keratosis, which was just discussing with Emma, it's a non-cancerous, but it's a sunspot and could become cancerous or whatever. It's just a dodgy area. And he said it's because I used to use sunbeds many years ago, quite a lot from the age of 17 to probably 25. And he said that's probably where the damage has come from. So we just need to be aware of, how that other sun can damage you.
And Emma, obviously, when Lee and I were growing up back in the day, there was less concern about sunscreen anyway, in spite of his tanning sessions to keep him looking bronzed. And these are things which people need to take seriously. And obviously, with this research done by O2 and the comparison between looking at our phones compared to actually looking after our skin, it is hugely important. And as somebody who has got a very high forehead, it goes right the way to the back. I have to be really careful in the sun. And factor 50 is my friend.
Definitely. And we do know so much more now about how to keep our skin safe in the sun. And we know that excessive sun exposure is one of the absolutely biggest risk factors for skin cancer. But the research from O2 still shows that people are getting burned. So 50% of people have experienced at least one episode of burning in the past couple of years. Over 20% of people don't really know what the UV ratings mean. Over almost a third of people don't quite understand what SPF is. So we have come on in leaps and bounds, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Absolutely. And Lee, I mean, this is now a case of monitoring for you, isn't it? The sunspot that you've got, which is at the moment not an issue, is a concern, but it's one which hopefully, whilst monitored, you can react to quickly. And it's a speed of reaction which is important. And obviously, that was your concern when you were misdiagnosed last time, but appropriately misdiagnosed.
Yes. And I say now, because of the O2 campaign, I go fishing every Sunday. And I'm aware now, I've bought a bivvy so that me and my son can sit in the bivvy when it's very, very hot and put in factor 50 on. And we go abroad a lot and we're quite exposed to the sun because we normally stay at a friend's villa and there's no trees or anything around. So we're constantly on the sun or in the sun. And I think that's what is the, what is the real worry.
Emma, I mean, it's important that we, as Lisa says, you're actually getting out of the sun. Whilst we might put factor 50 or 30 at least on our exposed bits, you got to remember your clothes have got to be UV resistant as well.
It's such a good point, Jason. So we know that sun protection is not just SPF. It's obviously very important, but it's actually your last line of defense. So there are three factors that the British Skin Foundation really like to emphasize in their campaign. That's more, more, more. More shade and seeking times out of the sun, particularly in those really intense hours between 11 and 3. Covering up, and like you say, not just very thin, loose white clothing, but actually clothing that's got a bit of sun protection. And then your third line of defense is SPF.
And it's about, say, making sure you look after, and the right SPF can actually be a nice moisturiser as well, and not just something claggy, which which blocks the UV. So, Lee, I mean, obviously you're looking after your kids to make sure that they don't make the same sort of errors when it comes down to tanning booths as you did in your youth. But also you're making sure that they stay safe when they're out and about. And however much they moan, waterproof factor 50 is again something which is part of your family routine, I guess.
It is indeed, and also I'm aware now that in my younger years, sun cream would just be applied once in the morning, and that's it. I wouldn't bother putting it on again. Now I'm so aware now that it needs to go on. Repeat it, put it on more, and I make sure my son is aware that he's got to have factor 50, even if he's out with his mates playing football and he's not in the sun sunbathing, so to speak. He needs to be putting it on. Really needs to be putting it on.
And again, whereas the Grange Hill in its day actually was as the sort of show which inspired kids to behave in the right way, even though it showed some wrongdoing. Actually, it's the sort of thing which we need to see on TV as well, don't we? We need to get that message out there and just see this being normal when, maybe in Australian soap opera, they go to the beach, they actually get sunscreen.
I think you're absolutely right. It definitely needs to be more of an awareness campaign, or like you say, in a soap or a TV thing, it needs to be taken on as a storyline because it is a big problem and it seems to be getting worse, which is quite worrying.
And Emma, obviously, we need to make sure we're looking after ourselves, looking after our skin, and again, it's research from the likes of O2 here, which really is highlighting the sort of problems that we're seeing.
Definitely. And I think you're absolutely right about young people in particular. We know that around, for example, teenage years, that body image and what you look like becomes very, very important. And these guys are very at risk of sunburn. So actually having something in the public eye, something on TV, a storyline about that would be really helpful.
Well, we've seen it done before. We've even had songs about things in the past, so you never know, Lee. You might be able to get your vocal cords out and do a new tune about making sure we protect ourselves
We
from the
could
sun.
just say yes to the sun cream.
I think that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Again, for those of us who aren't the right age, they have no clue. I don't think Emma's old enough to remember some of this, to be fair, but Lee will explain it to you later. I'm going to dig out the song. Meanwhile, for now, where do we go for more on the survey and, of course, to get some excellent advice when it comes to looking after our skin?
So the British Skin Foundation has a huge amount of advice, and O2 also does as well. So head on over there.
Okay, check out both of those. And for now, Lee McDonald, forever Zammo to me, and Emma Wedgeworth from the British Skin Foundation, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you very much.
The wonderful event that is the PrintFest is taking place once more in Wolverhampton for 2025. Jacky Fellows has always got ink under her fingernails and joins me now to tell me about what's going on. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad at all. Busy, but that's good.
Yeah, I know the world of printmaking is a busy one for you. And I think that is part of the fun, for the fact that you can keep busy, be creative, and still come away with something very unusual and unique, and very much a one-off each time you get somewhere near a roller full of sticky yellow and black and green and whatever else.
Yeah. Well, they have been described as anything other than unique. But I think they're beautiful. So not everybody's into pylons, but I love a good pylon.
You're there printing your pylons and away you go.
Yeah.
So what's happening with PrintFest this time round? Because it was a huge success last year.
It was an amazing success. We just to give a bit of background, I went to Ulverston PrintFest, which was it's a huge event on the calendar, on the printmaking calendar. And it's all the other side of the lake. It took me about 3.5 hours to get there, but I was impressed with it. But I just thought, well, if they can do it, Wolverhampton can do it. So what we did was I kind of convinced a couple of others, Lindsay, Sue, and Claire, to ask them if they wanted to, give it a go at what was New
You,
Hampton
you
Arts
nearly said the
Centre.
New Hampton Arts Centre. You mean the Wolverhampton
Yeah,
Arts Centre, don't you?
yeah, it'll always be the knack to me. But Wolverhampton Arts Centre, it's just been rebranded, which is brilliant. And so we went for it, and in November last year, 2024, we launched our first PrintFest, and with a bit of trepidation because we didn't know, how many people would apply and how many people would turn up. And actually, it was a full show, and we had over 800 people turn up over the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday. So we were absolutely stoked about that.
Yeah,
So
many of them there to enjoy the art, many of them actual artists themselves. Some came to nick some ideas to be pile-on copies all over the place.
yeah.
But it could well be that you inspired some people to take up an art form they hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, so I did some workshops beforehand. We did some workshops in the community for people, and and that all formed part of the exhibition. We had an exhibition for people who hadn't got a massive body of work but wanted to put one or two pieces in, and then for people like sort of kind of printmakers who'd got a decent body of work, they had a stand. So yeah, it was really good, and we always wanted it to be like an annual event, and hopefully, like obviously, 2025 will be the second event. But if it's anywhere near half as successful as it was in November, it'll be a brilliant event.
Okay, so when are you doing it this time round?
So it's the same weekend. It's we have a launch night on Friday the 7th of November, and then Saturday the 8th, Sunday the 9th. There'll be printmakers, and there should be an exhibition as well. So at this stage, we're calling for printmakers to be part of the exhibition. So there's a call out for printmakers. It will be selected this year. But don't let that put you off. We love all forms of printmaking. It can be anything from jelly plate printing, which is monoprinting, and up to screen printing. As long as it's a hand pulled print, it can be an etching, it can be a collograph, it can be a lino cut, relief printing. As long as it's a hand pulled print, by yourself, and it's an original piece of art, not something that you've copied from somebody else, then yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah,
what we want.
I never got much past potatoes, which is a bit of a limiting factor in my print. No, I've got GCSE printmaking, so I know this. I know what you're on about, which is quite cool.
You know what? Then you should be having a body of work to come and join us. Then
I haven't done any etching for years, and the last time I tried to do a tricolour print with screen printing, that was my GCSE exam, and I haven't unfortunately inhaled meths whilst cleaning a screen since.
well, it's. I mean, it's all different now. I mean, some people still use traditional methods, but mostly we use like a safe wash
Hmm.
method, which is a lot nicer to the environment. So I'll use water-based inks and that kind of thing, which a lot of printmakers do because it's just so much easier to clean up without the need for all those really harmful chemicals. But that's by the by. If you do use traditional methods, then yeah, you're more than welcome to come along. So there'll be demonstrations, that kind of thing. We invite people to demonstrate and what have you. But it's such a brilliant event for kind of promoting visual arts, not just printmaking, but visual arts, because we also had Art Expo in May. So
Hmm.
we're trying to do as many events as we possibly can, because I think art is really starting to become marginalised, particularly in schools, I think, and other venues. So it's just a passion about promoting visual arts, because I think arts and engaging in the arts, I've said this before, it's so important, particularly for people's mental health. We work so hard. Um, and I think sometimes, when I said I'm busy creating, is just the best feeling in the world. Even when you make mistakes, even when things don't turn out right, it really doesn't matter. Just for those few hours spent in a studio, I literally do not think about anything else. I don't think about what I've got to pay, what I've got to do, work that I've got to do. I just think about and just fully engage in what I'm doing. And there's nothing like it. I've been a long time on this planet, Jason. I can tell you, I've done all sorts of different things, and I just absolutely, there's nothing quite like engaging in arts. We did a cyanotype, which is another form of printmaking, with a guy whose name escapes me.
Come on, you remember his name. What is it?
It was Alan Glover. He's such a good friend of mine. I can't. Do you know what? It's that time of life. But yeah, Alan Glover, who's an absolutely amazing artist. Alan will be there as well, doing some. I'm hoping doing some cyanotypes. He's just brilliant, and some gum prints as well. Which they're absolutely amazing. Really great guy, Alan.
It's work that you can enjoy, that others people can enjoy, and you can actually even do as a hobby. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. But
Absolutely, yeah.
it's absolutely brilliant to be part of. So give us all the details on how people get themselves up in front of the selection panel for PrintFest for 2025.
So if you want an application form, you just go to printfestwolverhampton@yahoo.com, and you can get yourself an application form. You can either apply to be, like I said, you can apply to be in the exhibition, which is if you've just got one or two pieces that you want to display. That's it's only £10 hanging fee. There's no commission on any work sold. It's £10 up to A3 and £15 over A3. And for a stand, if you want a stand, then it's £65 for the whole weekend. Again, no commission. What you sell is what you take home. So yeah, it's as simple as that. So yeah, but I would really recommend people applying, and because it was just such a brilliant event. Everybody was saying about it was like a real, it sounds really twee, but it was like a real family family feel to the whole thing. It's not just about selling your work, it's about making connections with other printmakers, other people. Jenny Gunning, who makes the presses, who's from Ironbridge, I bought my press from Jenny, and I bought a couple of presses from Jenny now. She'll be there demonstrating, and she's absolutely amazing. She sets up a press, she's got some plates, and anybody can have a go. So and Jenny's brilliant. There's a lot going on with Jenny. She does lots of exhibitions, that kind of thing. So it's just about making connections as well.
Well, it could be you'll head home with a print that you've bought that you saw on the wall and loved, or it could be it's one you made yourself as part of the exhibition process too, which sounds
Yeah.
good. All you got to do is get in touch, get yourself to be part of it if you're a printmaker. If not, put the date in your diaries now. Give us those dates again.
So it's the 7th, Friday the 7th is the opening night from 6:30 till 9. And then Saturday, Sunday, it's from 10 till 4 on Saturday and Sunday, the 8th and the 9th of November.
All at the artist formerly known as the New Hampton Arts Centre. It is now the Wolverhampton Arts Centre, and it is still just as amazing to get down there, get involved, and really a beacon and a hub for arts and creativity in our city. Jacky Fellows, another one who's a beacon of light when it comes to the world of arts and comedy too. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Now, the Black Country is full of paranormal activity. So is the book, Paranormal Black Country. It's been written by Richard O'Connor with hours of lovingly done research, and he joins me now to tell me about a special event where you could get a signed copy this coming Saturday. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, Jason. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Very good. How about yourself?
All good here. So, 12th of July, you will be in Waterstones. Will you be joined by anyone of the paranormal ilk? Is it a haunted bookshop?
Well, as far as we know, probably not. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, the ghosts do turn up in the most unusual of places from time to time. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? But hopefully, lots of people who are just very interested in the paranormal and who want to come and have a chat about it.
Absolutely, because I mean, it is something which intrigues many, whether you're a believer or not. Then the likelihood is you will either believe you have or will know somebody who has a ghost story to tell. And it's amazing what does and doesn't go bump in the night that can attract our attention.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, when I started writing the book and meeting people to ask about the stories, time and time again, you'd come across people who say, "Oh, no, I don't believe in any of that." And then they say, "Oh, but there was this one time," and then they come up with some experience and some story, and you think, "That's fantastic, actually." Oh, how can you not believe in ghosts after that? But yeah, it's often actually the people who don't believe in ghosts who do tell the best stories for that reason. But in the book, there's a huge number of different people. There's lots of stories from hundreds of years ago, but also stories from local papers. and face-to-face meetings as well. So there's a great kind of diversity of people out there. Some people believe in ghosts wholeheartedly, some not so sure, but yeah, a lot of people find it interesting.
So, which corners of the Black Country have you been to research this?
All really. So in the book, we cover all of the four regions of the Black Country. There's a lot of time spent in Dudley. Spent the night at the Station Hotel next door, which is a fantastic place, and then had a day up in Dudley Castle as well, meeting staff there and talking to people. But heading to lots of places. I think listeners will know the Gifford Arms. It's an incredible place. That is, if you've never been there, it's a great one to check out. It's a really friendly pub. It's very atmospheric as well. It's got a few tales to tell.
Yeah, you can almost feel things oozing out of the walls, can't you?
You can. It's certainly got that look about it, and it sets things up very well, I think, for something to happen.
Anywhere else in Wolverhampton that stood out for you?
A lot of places that are of the historical nature, I would say. I mean, there's the Beldray factory, which is now closed, but it's used by the councillors' offices, I believe. It's got a great history of some fantastic stories from the kind of the 1950s, that time. A lot of people in the area probably know the legends of that place, so that's a great one as well. We've got a few tales from way back to the 1800s as well. Tales of murder, where the villain is reportedly seen drinking in one of the bars that he used to frequent, things like that. So there's all sorts, really. Everything from monks to people seeing ghosts in the living room.
But I think it's important to document these things, isn't it? And whether or not you believe this is, it's either an amazing story or it's an amazing story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll say again, really, people who share the stories with me, there's a couple in the book who, even after telling me the stories, they say, well, I don't really believe in ghosts, but this is what I saw. They must find it interesting to some extent. But, I try to keep something for everybody in the book.
And tell us a bit about your paranormal background, because you're no stranger to a bit of ghost hunting yourself, are you?
Absolutely. So I started getting into ghost hunting really back in the early 2000s. Like many people, triggered on the back of the Most Haunted fame. But yeah, just it really started something that stuck ever since. So been all up and down the country, doing a lot of late nights and a lot of dark, cold places, looking and hoping to see something. And the truth of it all is very rare. It is very, very rare. But occasionally you see something or you hear from other people who saying something. And yeah, I just find it fascinating, but just been following it ever since. So yeah, good kind of 20 odd years now, I suppose, of experience in that front.
And have you been around to sites with a clairvoyant with you to try and glean some information from them?
I have spent a lot of time with clairvoyance, definitely, but when it comes to the book, I have made a point actually of not using the clairvoyance. I really wanted to focus on the real people's real stories.
So it's somebody
Like there's a lot of
who's not susceptible to the feelings around them.
exactly, exactly. And there's stories that I came across doing the research where people just sit in the living room watching telly, and then something just appears in the doorway, and I always think, who's going to make that up? And some of these people have even left their homes because these sightings have become so frequent. And these are good people who just have no prior interest or susceptibility into the paranormal. So I just find those sort of things so much more fascinating. And those are the ones I really focused on.
Yeah, they don't know that they can sense things, but they find out in an intriguing way, which leaves them
Yeah,
surprised. Which is, I think, another
absolutely.
interesting part of it. Favorite stories in there? Come on, what is the one that you go back to and you want to maybe even see the spirit yourself?
I think there's a few, but I think one of my favorite stories is Hull Beach House, which is only a few miles away, I think, from Wolverhampton, but it really focuses around the gunpowder plot, and it's kind of got a bit of everything really. It's got gun battles, it's got explosions, it's got horse chases. It's got a yes, it's Hollywood really. I find the whole thing, and it's a great story. And there's a few people who claim to have seen that story, not even known the story, but they've seen elements of the story being played out hundreds of years after the actual event. And it's just there's a lot of things about it I love. But also, actually, I'd say the Crooked House is one that had to come into the book. I mean, it was written in 2023, so when I started writing the book, I hadn't really thought that I was going to include the Crooked House, but Then, of course, there was that terrible fire in August. And all these stories started coming out from people who'd had experiences in there, just having a drink in there, having all occasions, and they started saying that, oh yeah, I've also seen this and also seen that, and I went into these groups where people were talking about it and just said, tell me stories. Let's document it. Let's keep a record of it.
People have the opportunity to come and talk to you, find out more about the book when they come along to the Waterstones event on Saturday, the 12th of July. What time are you down there?
Yeah, so we're there between 12 and 1. And if you just want to come and have a chat about ghosts, tell us your stories or have a bit of a debate, whatever you want to do. But yeah, everybody's welcome and it'd just be great to see people there.
So Waterstones, Wolverhampton, over the road from a certain pub, and also from the old Beatties building. So you'll know it there. It's just down from where you can find the Super Bowl UK as well. So we got any strange bumps that you might hear there could easily be somebody vigorously getting a turkey or a strike next door. However, you've got some amazing stories to tell. You'll be listening in as well. Could we see Paranormal Black Country 2 come out of this?
You know what? There's so many stories out there. I don't see why not. So, come and tell me your stories if you've got any, and who knows, it might appear in the next volume.
Oh, there you go. So the book on sale then. Where else can people get hands on a copy?
So it's available from all the good bookshops, all the good bookshop websites as well, including Amazon and on Kindle. So if you just do a search for Paranormal Black Country and my name, Richard O'Connor, you'll find it very.
And because the publisher's website as well?
Amberley Publishing. So, yeah, you can find that as well. So, yeah, search for Amberley Books, Amberley Publishing. You'll find it on there. Lots of other great books as well.
Well, Richard O'Connor, curator of Paranormal Black Country, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, the contributions of 68 million women are unrecognised in historical records, with the census not showing what was really going on in the lives of many millions of women over many decades. Find My Past have done the research to tell us more. I'm joined now by Dame Laura Kenny. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Now, you're a national treasure and Olympian. Hopefully in the census, it lists both of those things next to your name, which we won't generally see just at the moment, will we?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's in there, but I mean, obviously, like you've just said, there's 68 million, a whole host of women who haven't got their occupation on the census, and that to me is absolutely mind-blowing.
It just doesn't make any sense as to why you would undervalue so many people. Now, we may see tradition whereby the husband's role in the house was the one that was considered most important. However, we know that that's not the case. We know that everybody plays their part in society. And when you've got somebody like one of the suffragettes who's listed as either a widow or no occupation, when actually they were changing the face of British politics, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, and like you say, we're not just talking about, and not to say that any job is any like any different value to someone else, but we're talking about people who we know in our history books are incredible females. Like they have gone on to do incredible things. And I mean, some of these ladies have lost their lives doing their occupations, like it's mad that we just haven't valued it in the slightest. Like when someone's come around knocking on the door and said, well, what's their role? What's your role been? And they've just gone, okay, yeah, but you're also a wife, so we'll just put wife down.
Yeah.
Like that's just mad in my opinion.
Well, it's sadly just not good enough, and so many women were let down by those carrying out the census, who were, let's face it, probably blokes. So we mentioned Millicent Fawcett, and I mean, the leadership of the National Union of Women's Suffrage Societies was her thing, and that absolutely. You can see why men may not have taken to that role quite so well at the time, based on outdated views. But Florence Nightingale, 1851 census, nursing hero of the Crimean War, blank is her job title.
Yeah, and yesterday I actually went round London to all of the statues of these brilliant women, and it blows my mind that we have statues of all these incredible women, yet in the census they're just not. It's just unoccupied, and it just seems mad that on the one side of things we're saying they're so brilliant and they've done such amazing things that we're going to put statues all around of them, and they are wonderful statues. But then on the flip side of that is, back then when they were in their prime, I'll say, we valued them so little that we class their job title as nothing. Basically, they're just a person.
We are fortunate enough, though, that some of the records will survive because Find My Past also has the ability to search newspaper records at the time. And when these women were out there doing what they did so well, there will hopefully at least have been some recognition in printed form.
Yeah, and I mean, I think thankfully, like you say, we do actually have a history of what they did and we know what they did. And so, like you say, Find My Past is such a brilliant website that you can delve into more than just the census. So they can delve into a whole host of information to try and gather what all these women did. And like, yes, we're talking about and we're highlighting the famous ones, but there might be someone in our families, you know, that we can delve into and we can find out that actually they too deserve to be celebrated. And they're one of these 68 million people gone unoccupied. So we're just trying to encourage people to delve deeper into your families, like my family, your family, everyone's families, and try and find all these million of people. Because yes, we can't change the census, we can't change what was written on there back in the day, but we can change the knowledge that we share with people, and we can change what we write down on our family trees, which will be what people then go on to use and reference in years to come.
Absolutely. And with what you can do on Find My Past, I already know from personal experience what you can find on there because my sister did some digging around on our family and pulled out this photograph of me in the paper and her when we were 10, when we went to the Black Country Museum. And it's a picture I knew was taken. I remember, even though I was very young, it all happening, but had never
Yeah.
seen. So to actually see that
Oh.
was quite an interesting experience. And so it never would have happened without Find My Past.
Oh, there you go. See, a perfect story.
So it's all good. Have you done any delving on there so far?
You know what? I was actually quite lucky that my granddad actually did quite a lot. I mean, he died a long time ago. He died in 1996 when he was 84. But he actually did quite a lot of our family tree. But it was all like wonderfully written. Whereas my dad, he's actually now used that to put it on Find My Past. And we have found that my right, let me get this right. It's three great. So it's great 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 grandmother actually was a divorcee who then went on to set up her own business, and she was actually a florist. And I just think, oh, a nice independent woman in my family line.
Absolutely, and I say it's the possibility of not knowing what's gone on in the past that is so worrying. I mean, we need to learn from the past. We need to make sure that we champion everybody of every background of whatever gender to see how well they've done, to see what they've achieved, and really to inspire the youngsters of today to say, look, you see, this is what you can do. These were adverse times. They didn't have some of the advantages we have now. They didn't have a lot of the challenges we have now, but it is great to see, those people who've gone before and how that has sort of developed into the families we know and love now.
Oh, definitely. And I just think it's sad for all of those women that have, dedicated their lives to certain occupations and it's just gone totally unrecognized. Like, I just think for myself personally, like I'm a mum, I'm a wife, but I was also an Olympian, or I am an Olympian because you never lose your title. And I just think it would be really sad for my children's children, to look back at our family tree and not actually know what I did. Whereas obviously I'm just lucky that I was born 100 years after all these the census system, whatever you want to call it, was put together. And for me, I'm lucky that I'm part of it where I can actually say, what, I am a sports person, I was an Olympian. And yeah, I just feel that it's quite sad that lots of families won't be able to do that. It will just say unoccupied.
And are you the first dame in your family timeline?
That is a very good question. I think so, yes. Do you know, it's funny actually, my children's birth certificates are actually different because obviously we weren't, so you put your title on there. Who knew? I didn't know. And so actually if you could technically change our family tree once we got knighted, so that was quite nice.
There you go. But it's again, it's all part of the history. We know that we can link things. You've already discussed the fact your family have uploaded your family tree into there, which has hopefully created links for potentially other people to be able to see and inspire them to actually do this. By putting in what we know and searching, we can start to make links to those censuses. In some ways, fill in the gaps by linking it to real people and real articles and stories, which may be there too. So there's all sorts of ways of doing this. And on top of all of that, it's just a great way to explore that whole family history that you have. Where do we go for more information on the story and, of course, to trace our family trees?
So if you go on Find My Past, the website is obviously it's all on there. It's /her story, which is part of the hashtag that we've been using because it's her story is your story is our hashtag, because if you also type that into social media, all the articles and all the information will also come up.
So you can check those details. Findmypast.co.uk. There are links from the main page as well. And there's all sorts of brilliant stuff on there to explore. And so you could even find that time that you were stood in the school assembly dressed as a reindeer on the end of a row, potentially. That could be in the paper and you might find it there. That one didn't happen to me. I found that in a cupboard at home. But it's there's all sorts of ways of finding out brilliant things about yourself and making sure you know how your family came together. Dame Laura Kenny, a national treasure, Olympian, and somebody who knows her family history. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, many people enjoy a bit of a splash around in the pool, but you could be raising funds for charity at the same time. To tell us more about how Swim for Compton is going to be raising some cash essentially required for the amazing charity, I'm joined now by Cara Bright. Good afternoon.
Hello, you okay?
I'm good. I hope we find you well.
Yeah, very well, thank you. Excited to talk about our Swim for Compton event.
Absolutely. This is one I've not heard about before, so tell me more.
So, Swim for Compton, it's a family-friendly way just to stay active throughout the month of August. So it's free to sign up, and we want you to get sponsored to swim throughout the month of August. So you set your own goals, whether it's 40 lengths over 4 weeks, or take on an ultimate swimming challenge, the equivalent of the 21-mile English Channel. Yeah, we want you to just take on whatever challenge appeals to you, and get sponsored while you do it.
It sounds like a really good way of raising funds and also keeping people fit at the same time. And Compton Care patron, of course, former Olympic swimming gold medalist Anita Lonsborough is part of this too. And she, of course, is helping support and will be getting her kit on to go swimming too, I'm going to guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Anita's been a massive support to us. Yeah, she's really, really excited about this event as well. So there is some incentives in the event. Obviously, as I say, it's free to sign up, and then as soon as you raise £100, you also receive a personalised Compton Care swimming cap as well, to complete the challenge in style. So there are plenty of incentives on the way.
That's all right. That's brilliant. And it's a chance for people to be able to see what you're doing as your head bobs up and down out the water.
Absolutely, 100%. It's something different, isn't it? We want to appeal to everybody. So whether it's the children getting involved in the 6 weeks holiday, yeah, we can't wait to see all the updates and the selfies.
So, I mean, we're looking at a 21-mile English Channel equivalent. I mean, 1,320 lengths of what, a 50-metre pool?
Yeah, absolutely. So that one is definitely one of the bigger challenges. But even if it's a length that you do, as a younger child once a week, then literally any challenge you decide to pick, we're supporting you. And we're so excited.
I know the sponsor forms you can print out online to help you get your funds in.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you sign up, we'll be sending out a swim tracker so you can tally up your miles or lengths throughout the month of August, and we'll also send out a sponsorship form as well, so you can collect that. You can collect that as you go in.
And what about those people who can't swim? Can they sort of maybe do something on foot in its place? Would that be allowed?
Absolutely. If people want to, people can make of this challenge whatever they'd like to. So if they want to kind of tailor it to maybe, I don't know, completing a certain distance throughout the month of August, whether that's on foot or on their bike instead of swimming, then absolutely. We're absolutely here for it. Anybody who wants to get involved.
And if they wanted to maybe do several laps of West Park in their Speedos, as long as they look decent, then that'll be okay.
I mean, no comment.
Anything that's a bit of fun raising funds for charity, I'm sure will work well. And hopefully people will be able to do their swimming and get out there. And the swim tracker and Compton Care wristband, it'll be part of that pack that when you sign up. 100 quid or more, that Compton Care swimming cap will leave you looking resplendent in central baths. That would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, and they can do this any swimming bath they want, or if they maybe are an open water swimmer, as long as they take all the necessary precautions themselves. Obviously, you're not liable for how they do it. You're just there to be a part and spur them on in what they know they're safe doing.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Anywhere they'd like to do it, whether it's on holiday, in the swimming pool, at the local swimming baths, yeah, as you say, as long as they're doing it safely, then yeah, 100%.
Okay, so where do people go to sign up and get involved in this brilliant event?
So to sign up, you just visit our main Compton Care website, which is, or you can also type in comptoncare.org.uk/swim, and you can sign up through there. We'll take your details, and as I say, we'll get those trackers and the donation forms out to you in the post as soon as you sign up.
And what's the closing date to get involved?
There isn't a closing date. We've launched now, so you're more than welcome to join it whenever you wish. It's going to be running throughout the month of August. So if you do miss the first week, but you still want to get on board, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, we'll be keeping it open. So yeah.
And armbands are allowed, and if you want to go on, so you use some of the inflatables to help you get along, that's all good too.
Absolutely. Anything that helps you get through.
That's the way we like it. Community Events Fundraiser at Compton Care, Cara Bright, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jason.
That's all for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 838 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.